it goes fast. So I think we are ready to add the next guest. As I said, Tudor Vasiliu from the Panopticon in Bucharest. Hi, Tudor. How are you?
Hey guys, can you hear me? You guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Right. This is like plug and
Pro setup.
play, power 3K, this StreamYard thing.
Yes.
We always get to do tests 1 month before, tests 2 weeks before, tests 2 hours before.
We don't do
Start
tests.
the test, guys.
No, we don't. We did one test yesterday evening.
Oh,
Sounded good.
Anybody had any trouble entering or staying in? Never did anyone have to go to the bathroom at least?
Oh, actually, we did just take a 5-minute break just now. We
Okay.
did do that.
What are you having, Georgie? Hope
And
that's
we
not
don't-
rum.
That's just water. I'm taking small sips so that I don't have to go to the
Rum to me.
bathroom.
Yeah, me too. I got a smaller cup just to not be tempted.
But in the meanwhile, you got a very nice setup for video conversations. I mean, you had already the microphone since we talked last time, but I think now you have some fancy camera, don't you?
It's my old DSLR Nikon. That's become a webcam. It's the ultimate humiliation for a
for a camera, you mean?
It's my
No.
I don't know, 2,000 euro webcam, or I don't know how much I paid for it, but it's doing a pretty good job. People seem to be impressed. So
It looks
No,
like a pro
yeah.
setup.
yeah,
No, it
thanks.
looks good.
Thanks.
Definitely.
You guys look super pro as well. So
I'm
I
using my
envy-
phone. I
envy,
figure out I can
envy
use the
that
phone.
mic of yours. That's and no USB connection. You've
What
gone
is
to the
with-
next level.
Oh
Your-
yeah,
your
I have. Yes. But I think I had this set up last time we talked. I don't know. Yeah. Well,
Well,
at least small improvements.
I can still envy it, right? I keep on envying it.
Yeah.
How are you guys? Episode 100.
Episode 100. Yeah, we wanted to reconnect with people like you that have been very impactful on the podcast, but somehow since last time we talked, we haven't had you on again. So we wanted to check on you. How are you doing? How is the Panopticon?
This is humanitarian. How are you?
No, but
How are you?
the last time was so I mean personally I don't know, it was so
Quite a while ago.
yeah, so impactful. The conversation with you, it was so on many different levels, not only professional but also the whole approach on things. And
Why? What did I say?
no,
something wrong?
not something wrong,
No,
the
no.
opposite,
Did
something
I make
nice.
you
deep.
question the purpose of life?
No,
there's
it
purpose of life, no point in
was
life.
more on the
What is there?
approach. This is your website, Vision of the
Oh
Future.
God. Okay.
How
damn.
you have been doing? And
We're bragging with that prize we got when we were kids.
no, how is
Like
it a
30
long
years
time
from
ago?
It's
The
been
price
a
is
long time.
forever. It's like an Oscar.
When I think about it, there's no, I cannot include the 2 years of COVID into anything when I'm thinking like, when did I last see that film, or when did I go there, or when did we last meet? It was like a year ago plus 2. Okay.
Yeah, we count time before
Crazy.
pandemic, now before the war, after the war. And I'm like I
Let's
go
drink to that.
sometimes.
Let's
I
drink to
say
after the war.
I say, remember how nice it was when it was just a lockdown?
Wow. Yes. I mean, right now Like everyone in maybe Europe is thinking, nukes sounds like I hear that every day. Or
You
the
you
threats,
have some.
they're like you know, the next, it's the nuke is the new black.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
for me,
hope
it's the word inflation. It's like inflation this,
Ah, yeah.
inflation that. Yeah, it's like,
What about deflation?
yes, well, still waiting on that.
Haven't hasn't come up yet.
No, no, not at all.
No, it's like it's like game of something, games of whatever. We don't even know what we're playing here. I mean, yeah, yeah,
how is the situation over there in Bucharest? You're very close to the war zone, so to say. I've seen also some other people in Romania starting hiring Ukrainians that have moved. I think a lot of people uh, moved to Romania from Ukraine, right? Or
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not so
for
many.
sure. Yeah, poor people. What can they do? Where can they go? It's they have to go through Moldova first, and then since Moldova is quite it's closer. That's all I would say. They come here, and obviously lots of women and children down here. So yeah, it's a tragedy. Um, I don't know. I mean, the situation so far has been stable. We're following the news, or at least what comes our way. Twitter is uh, kind of super active and close to what's going on there. You have people that are on the front, tweeting all the time, or whatever they can, or they feel it's safe to tweet about. So for me personally, that has become um, I've been checking on what's going on in Ukraine ever since day one. Since I have friends who are still there, or they left during the first day, where when they were still able to leave. But maybe I just know one guy who left, and he had a British passport, so it was easy for him. But ever since the first rocket stroke, there was just, I don't know, maybe 6 to 10 hours to take off, since they closed all the borders. So I've been kind of glued to Twitter and Telegram. There are some channels where people kind of take over the tweets and comment on them. And yeah, it's crazy what's going on. I'm talking to people over there, and uh, you know, can't believe what I'm what I'm looking at, what I'm hearing, what they say. So
Yeah, I think must be weird when your country is involved in something like that, and in general, the whole thing sounds so stupid to everyone who has a little bit of brain in their head, because we have so many other issues as humanity in general, and the after effects of this thing, it's gonna be even bigger because of the food supply chains that are gonna get disrupted, and
Yeah.
so it's crazy.
yeah, it is. When you know people over there, you tend to kind of get more involved. So I'm a bit more empathic to some problems, or some people's reactions. So I kind of tend to get more involved in the realities, or the new realities, and try to help. I tried to help as much as I could, but there's not much you can do, and sometimes it seems it's so strange that we are just a border away from over there, and in a way not involved actually. So maybe that's also a
Mhm.
good sign, since there is some support from this part of the world to what's going on down there, and the conflict has been contained in a way, um, which I don't know. I mean, for now, it seems or for when it started, it seemed unlikely. You try to not remember what happened in the previous world wars and those kinds of situations, and extrapolate and go into some pessimistic outlook, because it's future has not been written yet. So we just I personally hope that uh, this future will be one where the mistakes of the past will not be repeated, and there's going to be enough reason, let's say, in the people involved to just calm things down and go into something that doesn't involve killing people.
How is the sentiment in Romania in general? Because I was telling that before, that in Bulgaria, um, the people are very divided because of the past. That I don't know, that we have a lot of this, they call them fifth columns, right? This media venues
Yeah.
where they're basically camouflaged Russian media, and also the 50 years or more communism, where the history in books for Bulgarians has been rewritten, plays a role too. How is the sentiment in Romania towards the whole situation? Are there also, is there a big division with some people that saying that Russia is right, or is it rather clear majority in one direction?
It's difficult to say. I mean, if you look at the fifth page tabloid, you will start, or the Facebook internet, which is a parallel universe in the internet, or the internet in general. You would probably notice the other side of the story, where what's happening is the right thing, and all of that. And if you talk to normal people, you would understand that if you have a brain of at least one neuron, you have to be you have to understand that's not the way to do things. So I'm not the expert in statistics, and I don't follow we tend to follow the news that we're interested in. So I'm not following news per se, but I'm following the situation that comes from the closest sources to the problem situation, I would say. And I really don't care what people think down here. What I care about is, if there's a large trend that kind of tends to throw us under the bus of this conflict, or to involve us because some parts or some interests are going to have to make the wrong decisions, then I'll probably get more interested. But you have this type of media that misinforms on what's going on, and it's just plain lies, as far as we're concerned. You have those in all countries across Europe and everywhere else. So I would ask what's going on in Germany, what's the sentiment there, and you would get the divided people, and then you would get them in France. So there's a large movement in Europe, and that's possibly what I would be more careful with. Which country is led by which kind of mental direction or political preference of being pro or con certain countries or certain
Mm.
aggressor, let's say. So It's really hard to say, but the people I know and the whole kind of sane media is on the right side, I would say. And seeing the atrocities, I don't think. I mean, even the the guys who think this war is justified, I don't think they actually want to be on the wrong side.
No, yeah, and it's a very 3D chess subject, even more than 3D chess subject. So but I agree. We were talking about this, that nowadays it's because of media have political and economical interests because of how the business model works. It's difficult to understand. Like you don't pay for the media, for the news. You pay for just the entertainment, and for you don't pay the service. You get this commercials and stuff which influences things, and we're going towards this more decentralized ways of information and of everything, where you start looking at every single source, and and you decide to evaluate it on the long term, if it's a good one or not a good one. Like, for example, I inform myself through different not social media channels here on YouTube, which they're made by historians and military experts that explain the situation in a much deeper way than, for example, what you're going to see on the news. And then so far, what they have said a month ago, it has happened. So I can say, okay, they're reliable sources, and it's rather it don't get any other news from the actual news. It's nothing that you can rely on. It's some sort of gossip politics or stuff like that. It's nothing based on facts, or no fact checking and so on.
Yeah, it's in the
And
moment. It's sort of like a snapshot of the moment of what the sentiment is, and that's then published in some kind of way.
yeah,
You know what I really fear is this power of persuasion of these social networks, and the cookie, the internet cookie that marks you for your preferences, and kind of triangulates that with what Google and Facebook and all the others have gathered about you. And how prone are we to misinformation by being targeted? And you really have to ask yourself like 50 times when you see something, is that a targeted piece of information just for me, and made to kind of slowly channel me into believing something at some point, or is it like a fact? And we cannot really be sure of the reliability of these pieces of information when we are on Facebook, Twitter, all of these social networks, or wherever else on the internet. So I don't know. You kind of, even the direct tweets that come from a certain place, it's the whatever that person has seen, interpreted, and understood. It's not the actual fact itself.
Yeah.
So there is a dose of personal touch out there. So I've always tried to keep a balanced look on things, and not get too involved in the first few seconds. But and I was also preoccupied with stuff like how's this affecting our industry as well. I mean, for us, it's Ukraine and Russia are two countries where some of the best artists live in large amounts, live and work, and how are they coping with it, and who can still work nowadays? Is it okay for you to work with some of them, or can they? I don't know. Do they still have accountants for their businesses, or how do they keep paying for their food? That's interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy how it's become a very business discussion as well. It's like it's really about picking sides, and you have to. It's not only okay. I'm a business. I'm going to be neutral, and there's a war going on. No, that's not how it works anymore. You have to really see, okay, what does this also mean for my partners that partner in the business with me? And it's on the one hand, like you say, the experts and the professionals. On the other hand, clients as well that are going to have certain expectations maybe of you.
Yes, yeah, Georgie, I'll come up after you.
No, the thing is that I agree with you that by these economical sanctions and sanctions in general, there are people hit, as you said, for example, some Russian artists that are great at work, that cannot collaborate with basically Western companies or companies that agree or countries that are agreeing to the sanctions. But on the other side, if you don't do the sanctions, you're financing even more the war, and so it's it's sort of a bazooka, and that's it. You blow everything. You cannot hit only the big one.
Yeah, you're hitting everyone, and I think the leadership does not represent the will of the sane people in that country. It's completely the opposite, regardless of what they choose to believe. And I personally admire a ton of 3D artists over there in both countries, and not just in those countries, but also in others across Eastern Europe. And it's very cynical, the situation. And I know companies that were employing a lot of people in both countries and are unable to work with them at the moment, especially the Russian ones. And the Russian people down there are just ordinary, normal people like you and us. So what we can do is indeed maybe help out and hire or collaborate with people down there. And I've been thinking about it, not doing. We haven't had anyone yet, but and there was a thing I wanted to mention earlier. There was a company in the UK, I guess, wrote to us. We've been collaborating with this Ukrainian studio for years, and they've been doing awesome work. But now, since the situation kind of emerged, we're looking for a new partner. How about you? Are you interested?
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. It's like everybody's going into black-white mode. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, you're Ukrainian, you have that stamp. You're Russian, you have that stamp. You're all the other EU countries, you have that stamp.
Another thing was that they gave us the, supposedly the fees that those guys were charging, and they were shit. Which takes us to another conversation where why would they charge so little and so forth? But let's not mix things. But that was cynical, and that was a sign of there's a large game of power that can, just wipe you instantly as a business, just because you're on the wrong barricade. And yeah, we said no. Sorry, we cannot afford to work like that. But I don't know how many choose not to risk their business or collaborations because those guys are basically unsafe.
But isn't
at
it
the
this
time,
like
guys in Ukraine.
a call for like seen on a perspective of what you can do in your daily life? Isn't it this like a call for action for everybody to try to do their best in their circle, in order to work for a better society in general, so that the one in the leadership position can take the right decision? By that I mean, like, for example, I mean, Romania and Bulgaria have a very close culture somehow, and also all the Eastern European countries somehow have a very close culture. And I think that, for example, new companies within, whether it's the architectural field or archviz, should set a better tone within the company. And as you said, for example, you care of not accepting some shitty fees projects in order to be able to pay your employees, or maybe be able to ensure that they go home, not work 24/7, or, like, again, giving this balance. And after you set a certain positive tone, these people have their own standard, have their own expectations from everyone else to be more humane, so to say. And they yeah they become also, in my opinion, more compassionate, because if you are I mean, if you're a normal person, if you feel good, you want your next to feel good too somehow. So isn't it this like a lesson for, like, instead of going in a too big scale where we cannot affect much, but we can affect like our own scale, to provide like the positive culture at, for example, work or in your daily life, so that, and then on a big scale, it's avoidable that somebody gets on power and stays there and gets completely corrupt by it, and it ends up into this nonsense decision.
Not just the archviz industry is facing this. I mean, companies that I've heard of. I mean, I've heard of good things, not bad things. I'm not. The example I gave was just, some kind of twisted reality where it's as if we had just pushed the wrong button and we're in the wrong universe or the wrong dimension. What happened to the good one where we were at before? But for sure, we all should, as an industry, between brackets, I would say, is this an industry? I don't even know. I mean, since we were part of the credit revolution thing, that kind of, changed a few things, but didn't, change the status quo, because you need to work on that for years. I always compare, or we also always can compare with the photographers or with the graphic designers, but at least the photographers managed to get their credit out there, or there's retribution and there's people getting sued. But this should be one of those things where we, as a very, very tiny industry, we try to help, at least now, and we try to lift ourselves up instead of making this zero-sum game, which still happens. And I don't know who's gonna do that, because we're all busy working. We're not very good at managing things, or creating billion-dollar and even million-dollar businesses. So who's gonna do that? I'm really wondering. some companies are doing really well, and they take advantage of these smaller fees practiced by artists in Eastern Europe. And what are they going to do about it? Except, creating a very nice work environment. I'm not trying to point fingers at anyone, but I mean, it's in a way, it's easy. It's easy to try and do something humane for this place on Earth when you're not busy trying to pay for your next day, or to pay your bills, as you were saying. So we can have that power if indeed we recognize the value of our service and communicate that to the clients. And usually, these clients, they should afford our services, our high priced fees that need a ton of stuff to work on, like software and hardware, which is truly very expensive. Salaries have gone really up in the past few years, so you're not going to be able to afford to hire people from anywhere. Hiring across borders is also extremely difficult, and we tried that, but we realized, oh my God, it's so many things you need to fix or arrange to do something like that. So we should try to support many things, not just people, not just countries, but in this case of Ukraine, it would be really interesting to learn more about how these people are managing to pay their bills from day to day. The guys that have relocated from the west, from the east to the west of Ukraine, that are currently safe. I know a guy in Odessa. I was talking to him just before the podcast, and he was getting bombed a few days ago, but still working. So he was just hoping his place would be still intact while he was in the basement of some larger building in the parking lot.
No, I talked to one guy that it's more involved into parametric architecture. He was like a teacher at the Technical University of, I think, Kharkiv, or one of those
Kharkiv.
first city that got super bombed in the beginning. And he left, and then we were texting because I wanted to, bring on people on the podcast just so that, this was my little stupid thing that I could do. And he told me, no, my English is not so good in spoken form, but I'm spending also a lot of time working these days so that I distract myself. So that there are people that in this madness are, thinking, okay, let me work. So I shut off this big stuff that are going on, and it's crazy. If you like, I'm not in there, and for me it's also sometimes hard to detach from the whole situation, and I'm really impressed with this kind of people that are so mentally strong to say, okay, I'm gonna just shut off my whole brain about the war, and although they are in the country, and they will just focus on working on something. I think it's very impressive.
Yeah, it keeps you sane. You must do it. Otherwise, if you lose your focus, then you get into panic mode, and that's not good for anyone. Panic should stay out, and you should keep your mind clear. And if you can, for them, and even for us, all the people who are doing work for international studios or developers or stuff like that, we are basically fueling the economies of our countries where we based our businesses. And for them, it's important. It's really important to, pay their taxes, bring in money to stay afloat, feed their country. and if they stop, the money stops coming. And it's always been like that. I mean, you could definitely choose as a studio or as a business where to place your business. Do you like your country, and would you like to see any progress down there? How about basing your business down there? If you don't like it, maybe for some reason, maybe you're seeing the wrong direction that the country is taking, you could base it somewhere else, and you could fuel the interests of that country. Yeah, Eric. Thanks for the wow. There's a big message. We could get if he wants to join. I'd be super stoked to have Eric on.
Yeah,
right
Eric,
now.
you are welcome back to join on again. But he's working.
Oh yeah,
he's busy, as you can imagine.
Yeah,
Eric doesn't have just one brain. He has several brains, and sometimes he only uses one for conversation, and the others are working in the background. I'm pretty sure.
And that at the age of 25, the young age of 25.
Yeah, he's still young and multitasker.
Yeah, I talked to him years ago, and he was 25 then, and he's 25 today.
Yeah, I know. I've been following him since he was 16. No, I think actually close to 17 years, maybe. I remember looking at the works from Oralab in 2005 or 6, something, or even earlier than that. We were like, "Fuck, what are these crazy people?" And then one day later,
it's today.
We were talking about how crazy it was back in the days, because those were the first. It was a moment in history. He's impressed that you remember. He says, "Wow, you remember."
Whoa.
No, but it was the first time in history that there was a new form of like creating an image, or creating there was the first people in the cave that did the first images, then paper, and then in the mid 90s, or a little earlier, but was the first years of where you had like a new form of pencil or something. If you think about it, it's crazy.
Exactly, and it's probably, I would, if I could, and do statistics or studies, but I can't. So, but who or which studio is the most copied studio in the history of archviz? And I would argue it's Oralab. Lexicon probably is still getting copied by everybody, but Oralab impressed, I think, people for generations. They brainwashed them before Mr. Brainwash, or before. I don't know how Eric feels about it, or what was his evil plan. They're like, I'm gonna create a style that is so unique and hard to understand that people will try to mimic it for hundreds of years.
Then I can make music.
So I can focus on good music and good drinks.
Eric, if you're listening and if you have a link to those images, send us a link so that we can show them.
Eric, we're not talking about behind your back. Sorry, we know you're out there lurking. So otherwise, we wouldn't say a word of admiration.
No, that's Eric is the biggest entertainer and the archviz, I think.
Eric the entertainer. No, guys, but I think the thing with collaboration, in a way, our industry tends to be closed off. I mean, these entities, these studios, we when I started in commercial work in 2006, there was no internet, not the one that we know right now. So the information was very, very slow to go from A to B. So we thought, this is a competition. We have to learn. There was no tutorial. There's nothing. So we had to learn by doing. And architects are like that, and I think I mentioned this during our first talk. They're really like competitive, and yeah, each man for himself. But for the past few years, there's been some collaborations between studios, and maybe or at least I'm hoping that the industry is changing, and I want to see more collaborations between studios. And we've tested, a bit of like cross business, cross specialty collaborations by doing films lately. So films are something that not just CGI, not just animations, which you could easily do in house, but something that involves external collaborators that are specialized into completely other things that we know and we master. So ever since then, I realized, you could work with people that are not in house. I mean, I'm a control freak, so I just need to touch the image on the screen, be able to like manipulate it and do all that kind of stuff. Just so in house was always like we do everything in house. Collabs are very difficult, and this thing kind of changed for me, and I started looking at businesses that only do that are based on everything is remote. They don't even have servers. Everything is in the cloud. Everything is on SaaS services. So in a way, I started fueled by this war. I started thinking about how could a fully remote archviz firm could run, and with people like everywhere, anywhere. And we definitely have the tools nowadays to be to store information as much as possible. There's no limit, and licenses could run even remotely. You could remote in from tens of from thousands of miles away, from cross continent. There's a new member of Panopticon that's in Brazil, and he remotes in through Parsec. He's really happy with Parsec. I recommend it to anyone listening. It's like you're there with 3ds Max, but so I don't know how. I've heard about other studios who can do that, but it's pretty tricky to do that when you're in my position. But it's a new thing, because you were asking me, or you told me a couple of days ago, what's been up since we last spoke. Yeah, we started working with some production studios that do green screen, and some people who do video, really nice video shoots, and drones, and stuff that kind of opened our approach to collaboration. And I'm looking forward to this approach, instead of keeping everything in our yard, and hoping to be able to involve people who may need it, or are just simply talented at, and we can work together. And we have a very good designer, an extraordinary designer, I would say, that we're currently working with, and he's creating incredible work for our clients. So yeah, that's a hot topic for us, and I'm hoping we could hope at least to be able to help someone in Ukraine that can still be up for work.
If you're that's a interesting subject, collaborating, and I'm also very interested into how it can work in a more collaborative way. And if you haven't been listening to the Creative Insider, I can suggest you the episode 94 with Mexican architect Michel Roykind. We
Oh yeah,
had a long conversation, and he explained how he has done collaborations because he has this small office, but they do these big projects. And so he has explained that basically it's a long story short. It's basically he tells the other offices that collaborate, let's do it. We do this part, you do this part, and then we all put our names on so that you can build up a portfolio, and everybody are in this way also highly motivated to make the best work possible. And so this is how they do it.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great. One of the topics is, who's the author of that work. Because we've heard about these collaborations, but I keep on seeing studios posting work that is not theirs just because they collaborated, or architects posting renderings, and you never know who the author is.
Yeah.
It's hasn't changed much. I can see why Matthew is not very optimistic about it. So you kind of need everyone to be on board and not just post that disclaimer on Instagram. Don't post our work unless you are who you are and you have the right to do so. But man, there's so much work to do. And it's a question to ask also other people in other fields. Who how do you protect your work, and how do you get credit for it?
I think it's difficult.
NFTs is the answer.
NFT is the answer. There was a project in Ukraine. Some girls were had been creating some NFTs via OnlyFans, I believe. And they sold them for, or maybe I'm mixing the projects, but there was one project. Some girls had made more than 100K on OnlyFans, doing what they do on OnlyFans, and donating it to some causes in Ukraine. And there were some other projects, NFT projects, that were aiming to fund helping the people in Ukraine just by creating NFTs, and because it's so easy, and you need a cause. You need something to believe in, and what could be more powerful than help those people. So maybe that's why most of the NFTs, all the NFT projects, are really controversial, because they mean nothing. They're just means for people to make money. But if there's a project that means something, then it's worth investing in, isn't it?
That's almost true for everything, to be honest. But for NFT, yes, definitely, it is an interesting aspect to the discussion.
It is the future, and I'm not surprised Eric is. I mean, he's been talking about and being into technology for such a long time, and it's a controversial topic. People can be pro or con NFTs. I'm pretty sure it's the future. I took a few steps back ever since I managed to get Fabio to buy an iPhone to get on Clubhouse. I passed him my notes.
And then they released it, and they released the Android version of it.
Oh yeah.
And Clubhouse is dead.
That probably happened. Hope you can get him on soon again.
Yeah, he had a family thing today that pop up, and that's why we're skipping this one, but we are in close contact with Fabio, so he'll be back for sure at some time.
Cool.
Well, Tudor, thank you very much for passing by and saying hi. It was super pleasant to catch up.
Thanks, guys.
I work on a daily basis with a lot of people in Bucharest, because we have also collaborations there. So maybe we'll drop by and we'll see each other in the real life.
Yeah, anytime, dude. Give me a heads up.
For
And
sure.
thanks for putting up with my long, endless sentences.
Oh
I can get
no,
lost in listening to myself. So
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. I tend to do that too. He's used to it.
next time, I'll let you guys talk a bit about yourselves. You should definitely have a podcast just about how you did this. And actually, I saw something on YouTube where you guys were explaining what big up for all the patience and the amazing guests you've had. Just fucking amazing, truly amazing.
Well, it's thanks to our
So
guests.
congratulations, happy 100th.
Thank
and
you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, hope you get a cake.
We will do.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for being part of it and making it matter.
An honor.
Yes.
Really, truly an honor.
Thanks, Tudor.
Guys.
Thanks,
Talk to
Tudor.
you soon.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Cheers.